A 14-year-old is diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and told he may have 8 months to live. Treatment begins immediately. Chemotherapy, scans, protocols, constant monitoring. This is what medicine is supposed to do in crisis. It moves fast, it is precise, it is structured, and then something happens that no system actually budgets for. His physician doesn't just treat him. She shows up in his life in a way the healthcare system never formally defines. She tells him that if he keeps fighting, she will be at his graduation. That promise becomes more powerful than many of the interventions around it. It is not medication. It is not protocol. It is continuity. It is belief anchored in a human relationship. He survives. He graduates. Everyone calls it a medical success. But here is the uncomfortable part. Medicine didn't operate alone. While that story was unfolding in the exam room, another system was running in parallel. Claims were being submitted. Codes were being interpreted. Payments were being delayed, reduced, or denied. None of this shows up in the emotional narrative of care, but it quietly determines whether the care itself is financially sustainable. This is where the contradiction sits. Healthcare can coordinate extraordinary clinical complexity, but it still struggles to consistently convert that care into transparent, predictable financial reality for the physicians delivering it. And most physicians were never trained for that second system. They were trained to save lives, not to decode reimbursement logic that governs whether their work is recognized or paid accurately. So over time, something subtle happens. Clinical excellence becomes disconnected from financial visibility. The result is not usually dramatic failure. It is slow erosion, revenue leakage that is noticed too late, denials that feel routine, delays that are accepted as normal, not because they are acceptable, but because they are familiar. And familiarity is dangerous in healthcare operations, because many clinics are not actually struggling with demand or clinical performance. They are struggling with something more invisible. They cannot clearly see how money moves through the system in real time. They only see fragments after the fact. That lack of visibility creates a false sense of control. The clinic feels busy, productive, even successful clinically. But financially, it is often reacting rather than managing. This is where the next shift in healthcare quietly begins. Not in more documentation, not in more intermediaries, but in visibility itself. Systems powered by intelligence and real-time data are starting to expose what was previously delayed or hidden. Denials can be predicted earlier. Revenue flow can be tracked continuously. Bottlenecks can be identified before they become losses. Not to add complexity, but to remove the blindness that has been normalized for years. Because at the core, this is not just a billing issue. It is a systems design issue. And systems determine outcomes just as much as clinical decisions do. If medicine can coordinate survival for a teenager given 8 months to live, it should also be able to ensure that the work behind that survival is not lost in a system physicians cannot see clearly. If this resonates, ask yourself one question. How much of your clinic's revenue do you actually see as it happens, not weeks later through interpretation? And if that question feels uncomfortable, it probably should.